Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Stoeger XM1 Bullshark in 22 caliber. This is part of their new XM1 series. I've reviewed on the channel before the XM1 Ranger in 22, which is their long full rifle. It's not a bullpup, it's a full length rifle version. I've also reviewed their XM1 Scout, which is the short rifle format, both of which I thought were excellent guns. But now we're going to take a look at the Bullshark, which is their bullpup configuration, meaning the magazine in action is rearward of the grip. So we're going to take a look at this thing today. It's a pretty neat little gun, comes in right at about 450 bucks. So if you're just getting into the sport and you don't want to spend, big money on a $2,000 air gun, this might be a nice way to dip your toes in the air gun pond and then work up from there. So we'll take a look at this thing. We'll start with an unboxing. We're going to go into the features of it. And then I'm going to roll some full strings right over the chronograph so we can see what kind of power this thing is capable of. And I have not touched any of the settings from the factory, and it's shooting really well. In fact, I have killed a lot of squirrels and chipmunks already with this thing. In fact, about 5 minutes ago, I just shot one there. So before we kick things off, let's just show you that chipmunk to keep you interested, and then we'll go right into the unboxing.
How convenient for this review. Tango down.
Tango down.
This thing is really good for popping chipmunks.
All right, not bad, right? Right in the face, 25 yards, perfect chipmunk dispatching gun. Shoots right at about 31-ish foot-pounds, so not really overly concerned about, pass-throughs and bouncing way into the neighbor's property or anything. So for squirrels and chipmunks, this thing is great. Let's take a look at the unboxing, show you what you get in the box.
All right, let's do this down and dirty right next to the gun safe here, because I really just want to get a scope mounted on this thing and start messing with it. But I wanted to show you what's in the box. So first thing you should notice, 5-year warranty. Good job, Stoeger. I don't think I've ever seen that with an air gun before, so they are definitely doing right by the air gun community by offering such a long warranty period. That's a ridiculously long warranty. But let's see what's in the box. So, got some nice packaging, plenty of foam in there to protect your new gun. The owner's manual is a nice color manual. Make sure you guys read the manual so you know what you're doing. If I take this covering off here, we've got the gun itself. Looks pretty nice. And then these come with a ton of accessories. And for a budget gun, I think that's rather impressive. So you're going to get 2 magazines. You'll notice I've taken one out of the slot there. They are 9-round magazines in 22. And the reason I took it out was I put it in this Picatinny rail. These come with the gun. You get 2 of them. They mount up right there to the front of the gun. You can either have it like that or like that, whatever is the best for you. And seeing the pictures of these before I received the gun, I was like, oh, I'll never use that. It probably just clamps in there with pressure from the plastic and it'll just get knocked out in the field or whatever. But what I found is they're actually pretty, it holds it in there pretty well. And that's due to that little locating pin there and the shelved side in there. I don't know if you can see that, but also you can see the little silver dot there. That's a magnet. And the magnets are also on the magazine, so it holds it in there pretty nice. So we've got that. The gun comes equipped with a vertical grip installed on it, but if we look over here, you also get a blank cover that you can, if you don't want the vertical grip, you can just put a nice flush cover on there and it covers it up very nicely. Speaking of grips, you do get 2 grip modules. So this is, I think, the smaller one. The black one is the larger one that's on there. I'm not crazy about the colors of those and this. Maybe we'll do something about that later, but for now, it is what it is. You get a full O-ring kit with every O-ring in the gun, plus the fill probe that is used to fill the gun. And here's something cool. You get 2 cheek pieces. I have the smaller of the 2 on there. This one makes it flush with the pick rail there. I liked the shorter one, so I put that one on there. And then you're going to get your Allen keys, the screws for mounting the pick rails, and this cylindrical piece is kind of a mystery piece, but I figured out what it is. It's actually a gauge wrench, so if you ever have to take your gauge off, they got you covered. So there's your unboxing, and I think you get quite a few things at a budget price when you buy the XM1 Bullshark.
All right, now that you know what's in the box, I'm going to take a close look at this thing real quick, and then we'll get to shooting. All right, so I've got the gun in my bench rest here. We'll go through a close-up. I know you guys like that. And these reviews, of course, are meant for people considering buying the gun, and then also maybe just people who like seeing the features of different air guns and enjoy reviews, but we'll go Garand thumb style and start tip to butt. So what you're first going to notice is a knurled cap here. That unscrews to unveil the 1/2x20 threads, so any airgun moderator will fit on this thing. But what I found is you don't need it. This is internally suppressed, and when I first got it, I was curious about that, so I took it apart and took a look inside there. So let me roll that footage and you guys can see what's inside there.
I always at least inspect and somewhat lightly take apart air rifles before I review them, for the most part. Sometimes I pull them right out of the box and review them, but since I was sitting here, I looked at this. It's got a air stripper on the end there that threads onto the barrel, and what's really cool is in this tube, just like that, at the end of that air stripper, it's got actual like suppressor baffles, and then we've got a little spacer and then another baffle and another spacer and another baffle, and then the actual end, which is 1/2x20 threaded under the knurled cap right here, is also a baffle. So I thought that was pretty cool that there's an air stripper in there and a bunch of baffles, so before you even add your own suppressor, it's already suppressed, which is kind of a neat feature that they did on this. And then there's a locking collar that once you get all this assembled and on there, you can lock that down to the barrel. So that is what the barrel system on the XM1 Bullshark looks like.
So that's pretty cool that it comes with a baffled suppressor system internal to the shroud and an air stripper in there. All right, so then next up at the tip here, we've got the manometer. We've got a fresh 250 bar fill, and I've found that you can get about 4 magazines out of this thing before going under the regulator pressure, and it is regulated. You do not have a second gauge anywhere on the gun for the regulator, so just keep that in mind. You fill the gun right under here. We see the probe slot under there, and it is a nice spring-loaded cap, just like on the other XM1s that I've reviewed. Now, I did elect to leave the forward grip on. I thought that was kind of neat, and I did elect to put one of these magazine holder pick rails on just to stash the extra mag that comes with it. Moving back from there, the actual stock itself is pretty high quality, just like all the XM1 stocks on the other guns that you guys have seen on the channel. It's like a heavy, maybe like a glass-filled nylon or something. It's pretty heavy. And then the cocking linkage is kind of nice what they did here. Rather than having it back at the block, they've put it in an ergonomic position so you can easily cock the gun and fire it with your hand still near the grip, which is good. The rail on top is not a canted rail. It's just straight, so there's no like 20 MOA cant or anything in it. And this gun is kind of cool the way it fits into the chassis. It almost reminded me of like a poor man's Maverick. So let me show you a quick clip of when I took it out of the chassis to have a look at it. And keep in mind, there's a linkage for the trigger since it is a bullpup. And there's a piece right here that you can adjust the trigger sensitivity. And if you're going to do that, start with that part right there. But anyway, here's this clip.
There's 2 screws, one here and one here. That's going to free this barreled receiver action from your stock. So that's what it's going to look like out of the stock. The stock is made out of a super durable material. It's very nice for what it is. But here's kind of what the bullpupped action is. So you've got your trigger up there, then we've got the receiver block back here. We've got a trigger linkage in there connected to the sear there, a trigger return spring right there, and then this is kind of clever how they did this. It almost reminds me of an FX Maverick with the way that they've got these clamps around the air tube that go up and hold your rail on and everything. So it's a pretty clever design, and this is regulated, but you won't see a pressure gauge for your regulator. You'll only ever see the tank gauge there. Huma makes a regulator that you can add into this, and they also make a regulator with a little plenum section that adds like 12 cc's of plenum right here, so you can get a little bit better power out of this thing. But it is regulated from the factory. I have no idea where it's set. I know the other ones came at about 140, 150, so I would assume it's probably somewhere around there. But anyway, that's what it looks like out of the stock.
All right, so kind of neat. And then moving back, we've got, I put the shorter of the 2 cheek pieces on. The other one that comes with it is like flush with the pick rail, and already I feel a little cramped even with high rings on this Orc Air scope because this is kind of high up. So I might even, if you're going to put a scope on this, I might even go extra high rings. But in the end, this is going to be a red dot gun for me, so that scope's going to come off of there and I'm going to put a red dot on it, and that's how this gun's going to be. moving back, we do have the bizarrely colored pieces in there for the stock adjustment. You can remove those and shorten the length of pull if you so choose. I don't recommend doing that. This is a bullpup. It's short already, and I thought the length of pull was pretty good on it. So I think that's most of the features. Oh, the safety here is a crossbolt safety on the trigger, which I don't know how much I like that. I've mentioned that in the other videos. So it is what it is. It's a budget gun. You get what you get. But those are the main features. Oh, the magazine. So the magazine internally, that's actually aluminum in there. So anodized aluminum. It's one of these ones where you wind it backwards, insert a pellet forwards into there to hold it, and then you can just swivel it around and load the rest. But holds 9 in 22. I think in 25 it holds like 8, so one less. But that's enough of this. Let's go and shoot this thing. We'll shoot it at 25 yards, 50, and 100 as I usually do, and see how it groups. All right, let's get into the part of the review that you guys want to see most, which is shooting the gun. Now, I've got a target out there at 25 yards. We'll take a few shots at that just to make sure that we've got a good zero. Then we'll move it out to 50 yards, and then we'll move out to 100 yards. And I think I can get about 3 9-round mags out of this gun before I reach the reg, maybe a little bit more. So we'll shoot the 3 mags. I've got the FX True Ballistics Chronograph here to log all of our shots so we can get the stats afterwards. And I am shooting the JSB exact 18.13 grain pellets, which are pretty nice. And if we have some air left over, Stoeger sent over some of their own pellets, which look strangely like another brand, H&N. But we might take a couple shots at 50 with these too. These are 21 grain, so they'll move a little slower. These 18 grainers are shooting right at about 900 or so FPS. So let's get the scope cam rolling. Being that this is a bullpup and I've got the scope cam attached here, it's going to be not the most easy thing to shoot off of this bench rest here, but we should be able to do okay. All right, so we'll just pick a target, and you can see there's my groups from sighting in right there and right there. So it's seemingly pretty good, but let's just double check it at 25. Okay, so I would say we have a pretty good zero. That is a very small group at 25 yards. And I don't know how many that was, 4 or 5. That was 4, so I got 5 shots left. I'm going to take that target out to 50 yards, and we'll see how it does at 50 with more than just one group. Okay, I've got my target down there at 50 yards. So what we'll do is we'll shoot the remaining 5 shots in this magazine at 50 yards, and then we'll also shoot another 4-round group and a 5-round group. So I'll have 3 groups. One of them will only be 4 shots. The rest will be 5 at 50 yards. And then I've got a white 6-inch plate down there at 100. So we're just going to listen to whatever Straylock says with my hastily entered data and see how this thing shoots at those distances. But before I do, I did turn off my chronograph when I went up there, so it's going to reset the stats, but really nice stats on just those 4 shots. High 907.6, low 903.9, average 905.7, standard deviation 1.43. That is crazy. So anyway, we're going to start a new string here, and we'll go ahead and keep shooting this thing and see how it does at 50 and 100. So I've got my magazine containing 5 remaining shots, and these are all unsorted pellets straight from the tin. Got 5 shots in the mag, and then I'll do a mag change and we'll shoot a couple more groups. So seems like a good place to start right about here. And I was a little hasty on that one. It's tough shooting this out of the bench here, off my bench rest. All right, that's a pretty good 5-shot group at 50 yards for little 18 grain pellets. Let's reload another magazine. So this is mag 2, and that's making 33 foot-pounds right at about 907 feet per second. So that's pretty good. All right, so let's do another, we'll do 5 here. I'll try to stable up as best I can. but it is not proving to be super easy on this rest. Ooh, flyer there. Okay, maybe not some flyers. Maybe barrel settling, who knows? All right, let's take, that should have been 5, so I should have 4 left. Now let's do a super zen focus here. Oh, same hole. Wow, that was pretty good. That was the best group out of all of them. And, you know, I'm holding the rifle differently and finagling it into here, so take that as you will. But we'll take a closer look at those when we go up. But for now, what I'm going to do is reload another mag. All right, so this thing holds 9. So let's snipe this thing at 100 yards. I'm going to try to hold this thing dead center, and we'll let all 9 rip. Okay, those all 3 hit. I'm hearing it. I'm not sure where that last one hit. All right, so that was all 9. And let's do a little analysis here. All right, so I am right at about 160 bar, so I'd be able to get maybe a few more shots out of that before it goes under the reg. But let's take a look at our stats. So that was 23 shots. Okay, so we've got a low of 901.5, a high of 909.7, a spread of 8.2, standard deviation 2.18. Man, that is fantastic for a budget gun like this. So let's tell you what, let's walk down there, we'll take a look at the groups, and then when I come back, you know what, we'll do it right now. Let's do this. I probably have enough air to shoot like 5 shots at 50 yards with these really pretty plated Stoeger pellets. I'll reset my chronograph. We'll get some stats on these. I'll probably fall off the reg. All right, let's see where these are grouping. I'll take, I guess, this target. I have no idea where that hit. Maybe pretty low. It was only 830 FPS. So it's probably hitting pretty low. Unless it's that one, which would be very strange. Okay, let's take another shot at that just to be sure. Oh my God. Maybe if I set my scope back down to the right level, then we'd be in business, huh? All right, so 830, 830. Let's start on this one. I think I adjusted back to where I was. So we are about a mil low. These are grouping pretty good at 50 though. All right, so it looks like I'm still on the reg. Let's shoot another couple at that target. Still on the reg. Still on that rag. All right, so that was 9 shots. And despite stupidly not having my turret adjusted, we'll go take a look at those in a minute, but let's take the stats from the Stoeger pellets. So we've got 9 shots, average 830.9, low 825.2, high 836.6, standard deviation 3.56, so it opened up a little bit with those. And we'll go take a look at our results down there and see how we did. All right, we're walking up to this target. That was the group that I shot at 25 yards. So that's tiny, and that's perfect for this gun. That is the correct distance that you want to be shooting chipmunks at. That and in 25 yards and in. And if you're getting that kind of accuracy, that's fantastic out of a budget gun. All right, so then we moved up to 50, and that's a pretty respectable group right there. Opened up in that group, and then this group was very nice with, I think, 3 out of 4 shots right in the same hole. All right, and then when we shot the 21 grain Stoeger pellets, I was silly and had my scope dialed high. I'm just a regular guy. I screw things up sometimes, so that was those 2 shots. But then the rest of them I did put right there. So that's 7 shots, and that's pretty respectable too. So I prefer the 18 grain pellets in this thing, but if you're going to use the 21 grain, they'll also work and be accurate to kill squirrels at 50 yards, no problem. So next we'll check out my little white plate out there, see how we did at 100. All right, we're heading up here, and I'll try to get low so you guys can see. There is some wind out here. You can see it on the grasses and stuff. But dang, that is a really good 100-yard group from that guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all 9 shots on. And that's probably like 2 MOA-ish at 100 yards. Very impressive from a budget gun, especially shooting only 18 grain pellets. Not bad. All right, guys, so that is going to do it for the Stoeger XM1 Bullshark. Pretty neat gun for less than 500 bucks. The things I liked about it were definitely the accuracy. I like that it's integrally suppressed right from the factory. It's got some neat features too. It's kind of cool that you can take off this grip, put a flat thing. You've got multiple grip modules for the grip itself. So it's a well thought out, decent little gun for the price. And the most impressive thing about it was the accuracy. Look at these 100-yard shots. That group at 100 yards is excellent for a budget gun shooting light pellets. So if you're looking to get into the game of air guns and maybe do some backyard pest control, you'll notice I don't even have a suppressor on here. It's quiet enough to shoot in the backyard without disturbing neighbors just as it comes. But if you're looking to do some backyard pest control or just get into air guns, not a bad way to go with the old Stoeger XM1 Bullshark. So hopefully you guys liked this review and thought it was helpful. You can support the channel by shopping via my Amazon links. Even if you don't buy whatever's in the link and you just click in through there and do your own shopping, that helps the channel. Appreciate you guys if you're doing that. And stay tuned because we'll be doing some more content on these coming up here. Peace.